Okay, so I did a video I think just a couple days ago, talking a little more in depth about the coalition government in Israel. For those that don't know, I'll give a quick overview and then we'll kind of explain some things. So, excuse me. Lapid, or this is Yair Lapid, who was a newscaster, started a centrist party called Yesh Atid. And they formed a coalition government with the Yamana party. And let me see here. Let me make sure here. This is Yesh Atid. The Yesh Atid party. Let me make sure here the details. I just want to make sure. Let's see here. So the Yesh Atid party worked with, let's see here. And Yamana leader Naftali Bennett had made major headway in coalition talks. The anti-BD coalition has been described as the change bloc. Now, the fact is that this does not change much. This is the factor. The reason I say that is because with Mr. Lapid, Yair Lapid being a TV anchor, I don't think he's going to have as much influence as somebody like Naftali Bennett. Naftali Bennett ran in an opposition party with Benjamin Netanyahu. So ultimately, this is just opportunism. This is all this is. This is opportunism. Naftali Bennett, if you really look at this history, and I mentioned this in my debate with Superpower Broadcasting, is pretty much a carbon copy of, of Benjamin Netanyahu in many ways. They were both in the IDF. The only big thing is that Benjamin Netanyahu was more of a straight politician. He went to school in the U.S., similar to what Naftali Bennett did. Naftali Bennett's family was originally from the United States. That's why he has a last name like Bennett. His family moved to Israel a week after the 6-Day War, I believe. But Naftali Bennett was a software engineer as well. So he made a lot of money doing that. He ended up selling. He was in the IDF, as I said. And generally is a fairly harsh guy. He says, we will never provide any sort of freedom to the Palestinians. We will never give them any land. Now, let me make sure the details here, because I did mention this in my debate, and I do want to make sure I'm correct about this. But I'm going to look at the Yamana party, which means rightwards in Hebrew, or Yamana or Yemena. Okay, so let's look at their platform right quick here. National conservatism, economic liberalism, right-wing populism, religious Zionism, and secularism. And currently in the Knesset, they hold 7 of 120 seats. Sarah Netanyahu was recorded speaking to Rafi Peretz's wife. Go to the opposition. Tukuma rebranded as a religious Zionist party, split from Yamana on 20 January. May 9th, 2021, it was reported that Bennett and Yesh Atid, leader of Yair Lapid, made a major headway coalition talks for forming a new Israeli government. So let's look at this platform here. So Jewish identity, nationality, I'm not going to read through every. I'll just read the titles and go from there. Nationality, implementation of the nation-state law, unity of land. We are the only party that opposes the establishment of a Palestinian state. That's not true. Sovereignty, determination against terror, Aliyah, competition and liberty. We're going to break up monopolies and cartels. Right to work. Oh boy. So very much against unions. Basically, we will reform the labor law so that unions can only represent all workers in a workplace if they have a majority of its workers unionized. This sounds very, very, yeah. We will implement, then this is Yamana that I'm speaking about. I just want to make sure. Governability, social responsibility, Galilee, and the Negev. We'll strengthen the Galilee and Negev with additional employment opportunities, housing, healthcare, tourism, culture, and transport. Okay, I think I was mistaken on that, but let me make sure here. So I'm going to look at this Yesh Atid, so their platform. Okay, their platform has 8 points. Changing the priorities of Israel, changing the system of government, equality in education, and the draft. This is what, like I say, I've talked about this in the debate as well. Including the ultra-Orthodox sector and Arab sector, fighting political corruption, growth and economic efficiency, legislation of education law and cooperation with teachers' unions. Like I say, it seems weird to me that you read the platforms of Yesh Atid versus that of Yamina, which are the two main parties. The Israeli Arab Party, I think, is going to be a minor party in general. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Yeah. So they support the two-state solution as well. That's point 8, striving for peace, according to an outline of 2 states for 2 peoples while maintaining the large Israeli settlement blocks and ensuring the safety of Israel. Legislation of education law. Yeah. Greater religious pluralism, Orthodox movements within Judaism. I feel like this party, though, is going to be hugely under the thumb of Yamina and Naftali Bennett, because I feel that Naftali Bennett
says he has to go again. He won't be put off. I try.
edit. Okay. So let's continue on down the way here. But I do think that ultimately Naftali Bennett is going to be very, very undifferent, very similar to Benjamin Netanyahu, in my opinion. I don't think that there's going to be much difference, in my opinion. Naftali Bennett sounds like somebody who wants to basically maintain things as they will. they just sound like the typical sort of. This is very similar to like maybe a European right-wing party in many ways, where it's like, yeah, we support capitalism, this and that, but we also like democracy. They give lip service to these ideas. The Jewish home represents mainstream religious Zionism, where Takuma represents a more hawkish, and Chardal or Hardal usually refers to the portion of the religious Zionist community in Israel which inclines significantly towards Haredi ideology. So I think this will, like I said, I think that Yesh Atid and the let me see here. What was the other party here? Because there is a third party. Let's see here what we got here. But basically, yeah, they've left out. They do talk. Let's see here. Yeah, defense minister. Oh, excuse me. The Conservative Islamic United Arab List. Okay, that's the party's name. Excuse me. United Arab List. United Arab List to me sounds like it's not going to be. I feel that there is some sort of. Yeah. So this Mansour Abbas guy, I wonder if he's related to Mahmoud Abbas of the Palestinian Authority. I don't know. But yeah. So the other party is the United Arab List, which is the third party in this triumvirate to oust Netanyahu. And so it seems like this is going to be, maybe I'm just repeating this before again, but I'm going to cover it anyway. So party supports the two-state solution. Its constituency, it consists mostly of religious or nationalist Israeli Arabs and enjoys particular popularity among the Bedouin. 80% of residents of Bedouin communities voted for the party. The Islamic movement operates in poor Arab towns and villages. So this sounds like co-option here. It sounds like co-option. I feel like they only have 4 of the 120 seats in the Knesset. Let me take a look specifically at Mansour Abbas. Okay, he's founder of the. He met Abdullah Nimar Darwish, the founder of the Islamic movement, Islamist movement that advocates for Islam in Israel among Arabs and Circassians. Let's see here. Married with 3 children, lives in Magar. Not much else that I think can really be said. I think that a lot of folks are going to be talking about this, but I feel that the United Arab List is not going to have that much influence. I really don't think that the centrist party of Yesh Atid is going to have much influence, but ultimately the power is going to lie with Yamana. And I think that's what's going to occur. And I think Yamana and the leadership of Naftali Bennett is going to provide a little bit of fresh paint, but I think they will maintain the same beliefs that Netanyahu did, as I said. Let me make sure here with Naftali Bennett. But I believe, let me make sure here with Naftali Bennett. But Naftali Bennett, few Israelis wanted a leader to the right of Netanyahu. Naftali Bennett is set to oust. Okay, so this is a CNN thing. Let me see here. Oust his old boss anyway. Yeah, he is further to the right than Netanyahu. Former chief of staff to then opposition leader Benjamin Netanyahu, Bennett could now unseat his former boss, bringing an end to Netanyahu's run as the country's longest-serving prime minister. Bennett has signed onto a historic coalition agreement. Centrist leader Yair Lapid. He will sit alongside politicians. Yeah, a lot of folks don't even mention the United Arab List because they're not going to have that much influence. I think that he did that just so he could secure power. But yeah, let's see. A few Israelis voted for Bennett's Yamina party in March elections, picking up just 7 seats compared to Netanyahu's 30. But Bennett found himself the kingmaker, wooed by both Netanyahu and Lapid, who needed his party's support in order to form a majority. How much of his agenda Bennett can achieve while constrained in an awkwardly assembled coalition remains to be seen. I think that, like I said, I think that Bennett is going to break out, and yeah, he sold a tech startup that he had for 145 million. So I think with Naftali Bennett, he's going to be just as, or possibly worse, than Netanyahu. I think that's all I really have to say on that. It's kind of a repeat of what I said before, but I think it just goes to show that nothing much has changed in Israel. The status quo is going to occur. Anywho, hope y'all enjoyed that, or maybe not, according to what I was saying. At least just take it as one of the first people I'd like to think, one of the first people who's going to talk about what this coalition government is going to do. I think that, but yeah, you know what? I'm repeating myself. So hopefully y'all enjoy that. See you later, and goodbye.